Mm-hmm. I bet. Just a minute. It lives, I see. Do you want to speak with Lolita? I'm sorry, but Gabriel is allowed. Oh, I mean, he's out. Yeah, if he ever comes back, I'll tell him. You know, you could do better. I know I don't know you, but you could do better. Sure. Bye-bye. Good morning. The phone's been ringing off the hook all morning. Let me know when you want your messages.
Yeah.
Gee, you're lively. Did you have another nightmare last night?
Sort of.
Mm-hmm. I told you it's that voodoo book you're researching. That stuff can seriously screw up your karma.
I'm sure that's it. Maybe I should write a horror novel on passive resistance instead.
So don't sleep. It's your body. Anyway, your handheld tape recorder came today.
Really? Great.
I can't wait to see what human rights you violate with this one.
I can't wait to violate them. For example, if you would just let me...
And I located some local voodoo references for you. Dixieland Drugstore and the Historical Museum of Voodoo. Both are right here in French Quarter.
How would I ever manage without you?
You? Give me a break. The devil himself couldn't change you.
Well, if the devil had great legs, perhaps. Like yours.
And a riveting personality, I'm sure. Well, if you need any more research done, just ask. It's not as though we're swamped with customers.
Times-Picayune, dated June 18, 1993. The front page has an article about the voodoo murders. The article says that the victims are all identified as members of the underworld. The general public of New Orleans is in no danger. Police claim the so-called voodoo trappings found at the crime scenes are fake, a scare tactic, and that the murders are not associated with any genuine practitioners. Gabriel also scans the Aquarius horoscope for the day. Potential storms ahead. Proceed with caution and do not get involved with anything new at this time.
Right. Don't mind if I do.
Do what?
Oh, nothing. So, what's new, Grace?
Your use of mathematics, for one thing. These books are unbelievable.
What can I say? I refuse to be bound by rules.
The strap marks on your bedpost speak otherwise.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Do you have messages for me?
Dana called, and Susie left a message about a lawsuit.
Toss 'em.
Okie dokie. There's more when you want 'em.
Do you have more messages for me?
Your grandmother called.
I keep meaning to get over there. What did she say? Did she sound good?
She sounded great, and we had a nice little chat about you.
Grace.
Don't worry. I didn't go into detail about your cardinal sins. Not that anything about you could surprise her. She adores you anyway.
She's my girl.
But she said to remind you to stop by and go through your father's things.
Okay. Do you have more messages for me?
Here's a strange one. You got a call from someone named Wolfgang Ritter? He said he was calling from Germany. He told me it was urgent, maybe I should give him a call.
Call Germany, like hell. If it's really important, he'll call back.
Well, fine. Let's just hope he's not with the German lottery for pitiful American authors.
Do you have more messages for me?
Your friend Detective Mosley called. Talkative, isn't he?
Especially with you. What do you want?
He left an interesting message. He told me to tell you that his mother's maiden name is Humphrey. Oh, that's Humphhrey.
Fascinating.
And that he left some photos for you at the station, at the front desk.
It's about time.
Gabriel, those photos wouldn't have anything to do with the voodoo murders, would they?
Now, why would you say something like that?
Because I know you. You're getting privileged information, aren't you? Did you tell him you'd put him in your new voodoo book?
A writer has certain obligation to his readers, you know.
Gabriel, you know you'll never put him in your book. Your main character is a female orthodontist. You're gonna be reincarnated as a pit bull if you keep screwing with your karma.
As long as it's a male pit bull with a really big...
That's enough. Thanks. Anyway, that's all the messages. Thank God.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Just what I read in the paper, same as you.
Mind if I borrow the magnifying glass?
No, Sherlock. Just bring it back when we get the next estate shipment.
No problem. I'm gonna take the tweezers for a bit.
Good. You're beginning to look a little scruffy.
Just trying to make you feel at home. I'm out of here. Try not to sell out the store while I'm gone.
Uh-huh.
Hey, nice precinct.
Think so? That's peachy. That means more to me than you could know. Hey, it's a beignet guy.
Great, I'm starved.
stay put, you. Hey, grab me 3, would ya?
Sure.
Thanks.
The desk sergeant looked like a poster boy for heart disease. 30 extra pounds between his armpits and his belt, and a complexion of consistency of grey oatmeal. In other words, a typical product of good southern cooking.
Got a second, officer?
What can I do you for?
I'm here to see Detective Mosley.
He's out at a crime scene. Sorry.
Where's the crime scene? Is it related to the voodoo murders?
Crime scene information is police confidential. We don't need any more looky-loos than are probably already there.
Come on, you can tell me what the crime scene is.
Look, I know the paper's got everybody stirred up about these killings, but that don't make it public information. Back off.
So this is a new voodoo murder then?
Hey, I didn't say that. You'll read all about it in the papers tomorrow, I'm sure.
Please tell me where the crime scene is.
Look, buddy, you keep it up, and there'll be a crime scene right here.
I was supposed to pick up some photos from Detective Mosley at the front desk.
Is that right? And who are you?
My name is Knight. Gabriel Knight.
Yeah, I got something for you, all right. Soon as you're done talking, I'll give it to you. Here's that envelope for you, Gabriel Knight.
Thanks.
Gabriel opens the manila envelope and finds 2 photographs. One of the photos from Moseley is an official Voodoo Murders crime scene shot, a graphic close-up of a victim. One of the photos from the photograph of Moseley was apparently taken upon his graduation from the police academy. He had hair then. Gabriel cannot.
Can I bother you again, officer?
What is it this time?
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Me? Nothing. I'm a Catholic boy.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
I told you, I ain't got nothing to say about voodoo.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I'll tell you, I'm glad as hell it's not Mardi Gras. If it weren't for that 1 month a year, being a cop in New Orleans would be a real pleasure. As it is, I'd rather stick behind this desk.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
Best food in the world. You can get it right here in New Orleans. Muffaletta sandwiches. Beignets. Good Cajun coffee. Yep. Man can die happy in this city.
Tell me about yourself.
Who, me? I'm the Desk Sergeant Frick. Why?
Frick?
That's right. You got a problem with that?
Not at all. Tell me about yourself.
You see that front door?
Yeah?
Well, I watch people come in. See this book?
Yeah?
Well, I write people's names in it, see? People that bother me. Want me to put your name in this book?
I think not.
That's what I thought.
Hi.
Uh-huh.
Hi there. Is this your store?
This is a Dixieland drugstore, and I own it, me. Name's Walker, Willie Walker.
So, this is a voodoo store, huh?
Voodoo? No, man, this is a curio shop. The things you see here are from local folklore. None of it's real, I tell you for sure.
What about these magic oils and powders you're selling? Aren't they a part of voodoo?
Read the label, man. We make no claim. Sold as curio only. It means what it says, no? These are novelties, not voodoo.
Mind if I ask you a few questions?
Ask what you want, I'll answer what I want.
Tell me about yourself.
My name's Willie Walker. I own the place.
Tell me about yourself. How did you get into this kind of business?
Why should I discuss my business with you, man?
Tell me about yourself. How did you get into this kind of business?
Why should I discuss my business with you, man?
Can you tell me what you know about voodoo?
This is a novelty shop, monsieur.
Do you think I'm stupid? This is a voodoo shop. Look at all this stuff.
These are novelties, curiosities. If people want to think they're magic, it's not my concern, you know.
Are you telling me that you own a voodoo shop, but you know nothing about voodoo practices?
Affaire n'est pas affaire blanche.
What does that mean?
Means you should mind your own business, monsieur.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Cabriz Sancour.
What did you say?
Nothing, nothing. Those killings have nothing to do with my shop, monsieur.
What did you mean when you said Cabriz Sancour?
I didn't say that.
You did. I heard you say it.
You heard wrong, monsieur. I said no such thing.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I've lived here all my life, me.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I'm a busy man, monsieur. I don't get out of my neighborhood much.
The sign say, Special Saint-Jean-Eve, Lagnappe, free bottle lover come back to me aisle, or master gambling oil, with every purchase over $50.
Lagnappe. My French is lousy, but everyone in New Orleans knows what that means. A little something extra.
The proprietor doesn't look especially friendly. His business probably doesn't depend on walk-ins. Herbal oils for love, luck, power, and success. A variety of cloth dolls are arranged above the shelf, each impaled with a single silver pin. In this case are super concentrated fixing oils and packages of pins. It's a mannequin wearing a crocodile mask. The mask appears to be made from a real crocodile head.
Look at the voodoo paraphernalia around the body in the photograph. Are you sure you can't tell me anything about it?
No, I don't know anything about it. Nothing.
Ropes of garlic hanging from the ceiling.
I'll know where to come if I ever have a vampire problem.
Hi. Look around all you want.
Okay, thanks. Could I ask you a few questions?
I wouldn't be much help. You should talk to Dr. John, the owner. He'll be back tomorrow.
I see. Thank you.
A very large, very formidable looking snake is secured in a plexiglass cage. A striking portrait of a turbaned woman is on the back wall. Gabriel wonders who she might be. The back wall displays various voodoo items, such as a bandana that was once worn by a voodoo queen.
Nice bloodstains.
The back wall displays various voodoo items, such as a gaudy shell necklace. The back wall displays various voodoo items, such as an anatomically correct voodoo doll with pins strategically placed.
Now, why does that remind me of Grace?
A street drummer has settled outside the museum. An official voodoo wish and stump. Rub it and make a wish, a card says.
Funny, I say the same thing to women. I wish I could afford to take Gran on a cruise. I wish I had something better to rub than this stupid stump. I wish my publisher would actually promote one of my novels for a change. Damn, I've always wanted a skeleton with a bowl on its head. I'll be gone now, thanks.
So long.
Gabriel, I'm so glad you stopped by.
Sorry it's been a while, Grandma.
Not at all. Give us a kiss. Now come and sit down. Tell me how you're doing.
How you been, Gran?
Just fine, dear. I'm sorry I bothered you at work, but I was hoping you'd get a chance to go through your father's things in the attic.
Don't be silly. You can call me anytime. Can we talk, Gran?
Of course, my boy. How can I help?
Tell me about yourself.
Me? Oh, surely you have something more interesting to talk about.
Oh, come on, Gran.
All right, dear. What do you want to hear?
What do you do all day?
You know how I love to knit and work in my garden? I also take long walks. It's the only way to keep an old body like mine from stiffening up.
You're not old.
Oh, don't be foolish. I'm older than the hills.
Tell me about before you met Granddaddy.
Well, you know I was born Rebecca Wright. My daddy owned a lot of land outside of town. We grew peas, corn, cotton, all kinds of things. It was a good childhood, but my father was very strict. He didn't much let me out of his sight.
Tell me how you met Granddaddy.
I met Harrison at a church revival. There was a traveling preacher back then, a big fella named Reverend Jim. I even remember his slogan, "Come to me to find your way." Your granddad was sitting right behind me and my girlfriend Alma, and at one point, old Reverend Jim was flinging his hair around with his fire and brimstone annex, and a piece of it, one of those small add-on do's for men, went flying off. I swear, Harrison and I were the only ones that noticed. We both started laughing to beat the band. Everyone looked at us like we were a couple of loonies. It was then I knew that he was for me.
How you feeling these days?
Fit as a fiddle, and don't you worry your head about it.
Oh, nothing, never mind.
All right, dear.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? What an odd question, Gabriel. Of course, you always were interested in monster movies and all that other weird stuff. You get that from your father and granddad. I don't know anything about it, dear. Of course, it was very big in New Orleans at one time, but you don't hear about it so much these days. Too much else in the world to worry about, I guess.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Oh, Gabriel, nothing. And I don't want to. I sometimes wonder what this world is coming to.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? I remember when I was a girl, we always had a St. John's Eve Mass. The Mass was said at midnight, and we held candles. One time on the way home, we were waylaid by a large group of drunken revelers. They didn't hurt us, but I was frightened. My father was furious. We never went to St. John's Eve Mass after that.
Tell me about our family.
Who would you like to hear about? Your granddad, your father, or your mother?
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad immigrated to America when he was 21. He worked his way through school, met and married me, and we had your father, Philip.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad supported me and your father with bookkeeping. I'll tell you what, though, he hated every minute of it. Didn't really like bookkeeping one bit. Maybe that was why he had the worst luck with jobs. The nights he'd come home afraid to tell me he'd lost another. And I would tell him. It didn't matter to me. But he felt ashamed, Gabriel.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Harrison was only 36 when he died. Your father was 8 years old at the time. Your granddad was hit by a streetcar in the business district. Took me nearly a year to believe he was really gone.
I'm sorry, Gran.
I know you are, dear.
Tell me about my father.
Your father was my only child. How we adored him. Philip suffered from terrible nightmares, just like your granddad did. They were 2 peas in a pod.
Tell me about my father.
When Philip met your mother, it was love at first sight. They were married 2 weeks later. Never looked at a girl seriously until then. And he looked at plenty. You have your father's way with women, Gabriel. And your granddad's.
Tell me about my father.
I wanted to just lay down and die when he and your mother were killed in that car crash when you were only 8. It was the thought of taking care of you that kept me going, Gabriel. The police say your father swerved off the road after being frightened by something. Perhaps a deer in the road or a wild cat.
Tell me about my mother.
Your mother was Margaret Templeton when your father met her. She came from a very wealthy Creole family in New Orleans. She was beautiful and reckless. She was madly in love with your father, of course, but I also think she liked defying her family. Since you're so interested in family history these days, why don't you go by St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 and visit the family tomb? It would be a sweet gesture.
Maybe I will. Tell me about my mother.
Your mother's family refused to give her money after the marriage. All she had left was a modest trust fund from her great-aunt, who happened to like Philip. The remainder of your mother's trust fund became yours when she died. That's what you used to open your bookshop.
Tell me about my mother.
The Templetons are all gone now. Every last one of them. They never wanted anything to do with us, of course. What a waste.
You know, you get prettier every time I see you.
Oh, you.
I'm going to go up to the attic, Gran.
Be careful of the dust.
There's a sketchbook on the chair that Gabriel vaguely remembers as his father's.
I think I'll take Daddy's sketchbook with me.
Images haunt the pages of Philip Knight's sketchbook, the way they must have haunted his mind. The images touch a deep chord in Gabriel. So familiar are they that he finds it hard to believe they aren't from his own subconscious.
Well, Gran, I better get going.
All right, dear.
Hey, Grace. Here I am.
Really? I forgot you were gone.
Wishful thinking. Gabriel opens the cash register to examine the take. Or, in the case of St. George Books, the mistake. It's a gift certificate left over from yet another dismal failure of a promotion.
I trust you can live without this old gift certificate.
Knock yourself out.
I'm going out.
Uh-huh.
A police officer is either off duty or patrolling the park, or both.
Coroner requests assistance at the...
Good day, officer.
Yeah, you too. Keep moving.
Good day, officer.
Yeah, you too. Keep moving.
Coroner requests assistance.
It's one of those mimes. Oh boy. The $20 gift certificate for St. George's looks pitifully new and unused. The magnifying glass is an expensive one with an inlaid jade handle, an heirloom from Gabriel's grandfather.
Hey, cut that out. I told you to stop that. All right, mister. You want some of this?
Gabriel picks up the headset and listens.
Ambulance 911, have you located the crime scene? They've radioed for you 3 times.
Damn! Did you say it was north of the Lake Retreat Country Club?
South. Lakeside Drive north of Piedmont Pier, south of the country club.
Man, I don't know if it's the clouds out here today or what. Good thing this guy's already dead.
Everyone's having trouble. Must have been hallucinogens in the coffee this morning.
It's just so misty out here or something. Hey, I see a squad car. Got it, Molly.
Thank God. Have a good one, 911.
Interesting.
Stupid mime. Hey, you! Get away from that bike.
Sorry.
The crime scene team is still at the site. Gabriel parks a bit out of the way and walks over to avoid adding to the general confusion.
Hey, mostly. Huh? Knight, you wiener, I told you not to call me that.
Feeling jumpy?
Who, me? Don't be stupid. How'd you find me?
Oh, I was just driving by.
Uh-huh. Well, for the book. But don't tell anyone I let you see this, huh? It's another one, as you can see. Same M.O. and no frickin' clues. We're still waiting on an ID for the body.
That's disgusting. Isn't this a rather, public area for this kind of thing?
Yeah, they're frickin' ghosts, these guys. Lakeshore Drive isn't exactly the 10 expressway, but it is open to the public. No reports of nothing. Now, who the hell is that? Good day, Miss Getty.
What's going on, officer?
Detective Mosley, ma'am. We've got a little problem here, but nothing for you to be concerned about, Miss Getty.
I see. Thank you, Detective. And good day, gentlemen.
Whoa, I'm in love.
Forget it. That's Molly Getty. She's about as far out of your reach as the moon. Probably on her way to meet some guy with a yacht right now.
Near here?
The lake's a popular place for country clubs.
If she's out here a lot, maybe she saw something or heard something.
Man, nobody ever sees or hears nothing. I told you. Besides, you just don't go around bothering people like her.
We've about wrapped it up, sir. It's another clean sweep.
Yeah, let's get the meat wagon moving then.
Do you want to leave an officer here, sir?
Nah, just leave the tape up for a few days.
Yes, sir. If you'll excuse us, sir, we'll take him away.
Stick around and take notes for the book if you want. Watch out for the muck in the water moccasins, though. I'll be back at the station. Stop by if you want to go over the case some more.
Thanks.
Out down the spot. Will these pristine banks ne'er be cleaned again? There seems to be a pattern to the lines in the sand, but if there is a pattern, it's smeared. There's only one small area that's clearly defined.
Let me try to get this down.
The grass has a matted appearance there. It's very large grass. It's very large grass. There doesn't seem to be anything unusual there that would call for using tweezers. There do- There are marks in the grass as though some heavy wire object had been set there. Something small and iridescent is barely visible among the indentations. It looks like a scale of some sort. Gabriel carefully uses the tweezers to take the small iridescent scale.
I think it's a snake scale, but it beats the hell out of me what kind. Hey, Grace. Here I am.
Oh, joy.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Could you do some research for me?
Sure, what?
Could you see what you can find out about a woman named Malia Getty?
The name Getty sounds familiar. What's your interest in her?
Oh, just, stuff about the voodoo murders. If you could get an address...
They're murders. Right. I'll see what I can find out. Anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. Well, it's about closing time.
So it is. Good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gabriel. And try not to dream, okay? Good morning. Don't you look swell today? Actually, swollen.
Oh,
So have some. There's a fresh pot on the table. Seriously, you look like hell. Your hair is sticking straight up like a... Oh, it always does that. Never mind.
ha, ha.
Did you dream about the fire and the hang guy and that lion thing last night?
Leopard, not lion. Did you get anything on Malia Getty?
Well, I did get her address, but you're a little out of your league here, big fella. The Gettys own 3 local hospitals, just to name a few of their assets. They run in very high circles.
Did you get an address?
I got the address. I suppose this has nothing to do with the fact that Malia Getty is incredibly gorgeous. I should have known you wouldn't go for a rich, ugly socialite.
And that address is?
Hey! Far be it from me to postpone your total humiliation. It's 557 West England. That's a garden district, a state city.
That's all I wanted to know. And yes, my dear, Malia Getty is the most dangerous-looking diversion I've ever seen. Ouch!
Oy, men.
Times Picayune, dated June 19, 1993. A front-page article describes the most recent of the voodoo murders. Gabriel scans it but learns nothing new. The article reiterates that the voodoo aspect of the crimes is fake. Gabriel shivers. It looked real enough to him. Elsewhere, there's an article about the history of Jackson Square, called La Plaza d'Armas. Under French rule, it was used for executions, firing squads, hanging, even impalement and breaking on the wheel. Yikes! Of course, these days it's mostly a hangout for tourists, street musicians and local artists. Gabriel also scans the Aquarius horoscope for the day. Chances of a dark star rising on this day. Do not trust your instincts.
I feel a dark star rising, all right.
I'm out of here. Try not to sell out the store while I'm gone.
Uh-huh.
The Garden District is famous for its elaborate old plantation homes and mansions. This particular mansion is groomed. Gabriel can't get in. This door.
May I help you?
I'd like to see Malia Getty, please.
I'm sorry, but unless you have an appointment or official business, I cannot announce you.
I do have official business.
Really? Please tell me the nature of your business.
I've got important business with Miss Getty.
Yes, I'm waiting for some evidence of that, sir. May I help you?
I've got important business with Miss Getty.
Yes, I'm waiting for some evidence of that, sir. Just as I thought. Good day, sir. I have this gift certificate.
I'm busy.
It's good for $20 at St. George's Books, finest bookstore in New Orleans.
Really? I'll have to check it out sometime.
You could take this gift certificate with you, if you'll give me a lucky dog.
A lucky dog for a $20 gift certificate? Well, sure. Here you go.
You wouldn't like a lucky dog by any chance.
Would I? Thanks, mister. You got any special requests, let me know.
Interrogating.
You mentioned something about special requests?
Yeah. You got one?
Can't think of... Got a second, officer?
What can I do you for?
Do you know anything about snakes?
What does this look like? A zoo? Never mind, don't answer that. No, I don't know nothing about no snakes.
I'm here to see Detective Mosley.
He's in his office. Go on back.
Hey. Knight, I had a feeling you'd show up. Whew, it's hot in here. Dang, the air conditioning must be on the blink. Are you hot? Man, I'm hot.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Lots. Can you be more specific?
Do you know anything about the killers?
At least 20 people attend the killings. We know this from the variety of footprints found at the scenes.
Footprints? Aren't those as good as fingerprints?
Can be. But we'd have to have a suspect in custody first, and the suspect would have to match one of the few distinct prints we have. Most of the footprints are smudged, trodden over, unreadable. These guys are so casual in their expertise, it's maddening. Like they know we'll never find them.
How many murders have there been so far?
7 murders have so far been linked to the voodoo murders case. Now, the first murder occurred about 8 weeks ago. The M.O. was the same in each murder. Lake Pontchartrain was the 7th.
What kind of evidence have you found?
No fingerprints, a few bare footprints. Found a few fibers, but not many. The weirdest one was leopard fur.
Leopard fur? Describe the crime scenes.
Well, there's the corpse itself, minus the heart. Around where the body was killed, we find marks and flour and blood. There are traces of wax from candles, red and black. Ordinary wax candles, so the lab reports. Also blood and feathers of chickens. Also goat's blood. And plenty of the victim's own, of course.
What's the coroner say?
The victim's heart is always ripped out of the chest and missing. We haven't located a single one of them.
Lovely. Any idea what they do with them?
Don't even want to know. Also, the coroner says some of the victims had heart attacks before the incision. Literally scared to death. The knife wounds are consistent with a long, narrow, wavy-edged knife. Probably a ritualistic dagger.
Any witnesses?
Nope. There's never been a single witness. No one's even heard a disturbance. It's damned weird. Like they just don't want people to see, and so nobody sees nothing.
Know anything about the victims?
The victims are all out-of-towners. We still don't know why.
Oh, nothing, never mind.
Sure, no problem.
Have you ever called the hair club for men?
I'd rather have no hair than your hair, Knight.
I got those photographs you left for me.
Really? Great. What'd you think?
Astonishingly lifelike.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Got any more ideas for photos for the book?
A cop author photo might be nice.
You and me? Together?
Why not? Of course, you'll have to try to tone down your masculinity.
Well, okay. Now I'll call the police photographer. Franks, come here a minute, would you? And bring your camera.
What did you need, Detective Mosley?
We need a picture, please. And make it a good one, huh, sweetheart?
Sure, sweetheart.
Say, chintzy.
Was there anything else, Knight?
Nope, that's about it.
Great. Thanks, Franks. Hey, I made a rhyme.
You're astonishing, mostly.
Hey, don't call me that in front of the lady, wise guy.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
Do you know anything about the patterns around the bodies?
Yeah, weird, huh? All 7 victims had those little marks around them. We got all the marks on file, but we haven't figured out what, if anything, they mean.
Can I see the other 6 patterns?
Sure. People like that kind of stuff, don't they? Might make the book seem more mysterious. Go talk to Officer Franks. Tell her I said you could see the file.
Excuse me, officer.
Yes?
So, what's it like being a policewoman?
The glamour never ceases.
Excuse me, officer.
Yes?
You know, that uniform looks great on you.
Uh-huh. Is that a compliment, or are you asking to borrow my dress?
It's a compliment.
Well, you just never know around here. Thanks, but I'm married.
Excuse me, officer.
Yes?
Can you get a file for me?
What file would that be?
The Voodoo Murders file? Detective Mosley said I could see it.
Really? Well, if he said so. There it is. You can look at it all you want, but don't leave this area with it, okay? And no photocopies either, I'm afraid.
Of course. I understand completely.
The police file contains partial patterns from the first 6 voodoo murders.
I'm done.
Yeah, thanks.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
I got those photographs you left for me.
So you said. Did you think of any other shots for the book?
Let's take another cop author shot.
What for?
I don't think we got your best side.
Really? Okay. I'll have Franks come in again. Franks, come back in here with that camera.
Now what, sir?
That clown wants another picture. You don't mind, do you?
Of course not. What else could I possibly have to do?
Anything else, Knight?
Hold on a sec while I go check my hair.
Good God, Knight, make it fast.
Let me see that file again. Just want to check this machine here.
Would you just get in here? Hurry up, would you?
Okay, ready.
Thanks, hon. Let me know when you got it developed. The photos, that is.
Yeah, sure.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
How about getting me some coffee?
Coffee? You want coffee?
Should that surprise you?
Nah, you've always been a caffeine addict. It's just that what we got here hardly qualifies.
So, I'm desperate.
It's your stomach. I'll get you some when we're done talking.
That long?
All right, I'll go now. Don't touch anything while I'm gone.
I think I'll just borrow this badge.
Hey, what are you doing with my coat?
Nothing. I thought I saw something crawling on it.
Just drink this.
Thanks. Tons. I mean it.
Gabriel can't get...
May I help you? I'd like to see Malia Getty, please. I'm sorry, but unless you have an appointment or official business, I cannot announce you. I do have official business. Really? Please tell me the nature of your business. My name is Detective Mosley. I'm here on police business. Really? How interesting. Wait here. I'll inform Miss Getty. Miss Getty will see you. Right this way. Miss Getty will be down shortly. Thank you.
What can I do for you, Detective?
Mind if I ask you a few questions, Miss Getty?
I assume that's what you're here for, Detective.
Excuse me, but your eyes are really distracting. I don't think I've ever seen a color quite like that. Brownish gold. It's so deep and rich. Man, if I could bottle that, I'd make a fortune.
Thank you, Detective. That's an interesting observation, though probably not relevant to your case.
A good detective never knows what might be relevant, Miss Getty.
Then you must be truly exceptional at your job.
Can you tell me anything about what happened out at the lake?
I wish I could, but I've never seen or heard anything unusual at the lake, and I do spend quite a bit of time out there.
Can you tell me anything about what happened out at the lake?
I wish I could, but I've never seen or heard anything unusual at the lake, and I do spend quite a bit of time out there.
Tell me about yourself.
I suppose I don't really have a choice. What do you want to know, Detective?
What kind of things interest you?
I don't have a lot of free time, but I do appreciate the arts. Opera, symphony, ballet, fine art. If you look around, you'll see that we collect African art, for example.
Yes, it's very beautiful.
It is, Detective. It means a great deal to me.
Do you have a career?
A career? Being the head of the Getty family is a 24-hour-a-day job. We have many holdings and many responsibilities, financial and otherwise. The management of our business affairs and properties leaves me with time for little else.
Poor little rich girl?
Believe it or not, Detective, wealth does have its price.
Tell me about your family.
The Gettys? We're a very private family.
How many people are there in your family?
Well, my mother just passed away.
I am sorry.
So am I. She was a magnificent woman. We were very close. I was an only child.
And your father?
I never knew him.
It's hard to believe that any man would leave a woman like you. Or like your mother must have been.
He did not leave, Detective. But that's really none of your concern.
I'm sorry. Go on.
There are, of course, other Gettys in the city. I have a large, extended family.
I see. Do you have a husband? A boyfriend?
I'm very independent, Detective. The women in my family have always preferred it that way.
So, you've never been married?
No, and I never will be.
What about children?
Yes, that is likely. Someday.
I'd like to hear just about anything.
I do a lot of charity work around the city, primarily in the prison and reform system. I'm not a professional sociologist, but it does interest me.
I'd like to hear just about anything.
I have a business degree from Vanderbilt. I wanted to study psychology, but my family's interests came first.
Oh? Why not something like law, then? Surely that would have been an asset to the family.
Law? Please, I do have some morals, Detective.
I wouldn't know where to begin.
As you wish, Detective.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The murders? Only what I read in the papers.
And what do you read in the papers?
I'm sure you know much more about it than I, Detective.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The murders?
And what do you...
I'm sure you know much.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I believe it's some sort of local holiday, but I don't know much about it.
Do you have any idea what Cabri Saint-Gar means?
No, I don't. What does it mean, Detective?
That's confidential information, ma'am. What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? Why would you want to know about that, Detective? It's rather silly, isn't it?
There's nothing silly about the voodoo murders.
But that voodoo is faked. That's what I've read in the papers.
That's what the papers say, all right.
But you're not convinced?
No, frankly, I'm not. The police department isn't known for its imagination.
Oh. Well, I can see that your imagination is considerable. I think this has gone on long enough. You're not really a detective, are you?
Who, me? Well, I am on this case, Miss Getty.
I saw you at the lake yesterday. I thought you must be with the police since you were there, but you don't act like a police officer. Besides, I'm rather certain that the other man said his name was Mosley.
All right, you caught me. I'm not with the police. My name is Gabriel Knight. I'm a writer working with Detective Mosley on a book.
Well, Mr. Knight, now that we've established who you are, perhaps you can tell me the real reason you're here.
Well, I am researching the book, and I thought you might have seen or heard something at the lake.
I don't like liars, Mr. Knight.
Okay, you're right. I really just wanted to see you again. You can be mad at me if you want, but I swear I've never done anything like this before.
Mr. Knight, you've lied about your identity and wasted my time with meaningless questions. If it weren't vaguely flattering, I'd really be angry. You're lucky I don't call the real police. I think you should go, Mr. Knight.
Malia, wait. If you just give me a chance.
I've wasted enough time. I'll have Robert show you out. Robert? Show Mr. Knight out, please.
I most certainly will.
Thank you very much.
I had a lovely time.
Ah, shit. Hey, bud. You! Last time I looked.
Give me my badge right now.
Oh, is that why you're so excited? If you knew what I needed it for.
I'm sure it was to impress a woman. You could have asked. Do you know how embarrassing it is to admit your badge was stolen? I had a photo with the chief, and he wanted me wearing it. I should lock you up, Knight.
I suppose you could. Seems to me, though, there was that time you borrowed my bike without mentioning it. Right from in front of my shop.
Yeah, don't remind me. Just don't do it again. Whew, it's hot in here. Dang, the air conditioning must be on the blink. Are you hot? Man, I'm hot.
I'll let you get back to it.
Ciao, baby.
Gabriel decides to give Mosley a break and not change the temperature again. The marks are reddish in color and reminds Gabriel of crosses. They look like they've been here a few days at least.
I want a copy of these strange marks. Hello there, got a sec?
What you need, boy?
Mind if I pick your brain a minute?
Go ahead. These folks ain't in no hurry.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
They say it was part of an old religion from Africa, brought here by slaves.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
I don't really care to talk about it. I don't do it none myself.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Ain't it just awful, them finding those bodies with voodoo things around them? I don't think there's any real voodoo going on. Somebody's trying to cover their tracks is all.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I told you all I know about that.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
Seem like everybody want to visit New Orleans at least once in their lives, and they love the cemetery tour. I see tourists in here every day of the year.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
There's lots of things to see here, but none are as beautiful as the St. Louis Cemetery #1.
What do you know?
I told you all I know about that.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
Hey, if you want to know more, you should ask somebody else.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? I see snakes around here all the time. Most of them ain't poisonous, of course.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I don't mind snakes myself, but lots of folks are afraid of them.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
Why, St. John the Baptist is the patron saint of voodoo. Sometimes we get some weird goings-on in that cemetery on that night. More often a few nights before. People taking grave dirt, bones, and more.
That's pretty disgusting.
Yep. Don't know what they do with them, but it can't be pretty.
What else can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I told you all I know about that.
Do you have any idea what Caprice sans cœur means?
No, can't say that I do.
Tell me about yourself.
My name is Toussaint Gervais. I'm the watchman here at St. Louis #1.
What exactly do you do here?
Oh, I keep the place tidy, cause, but a big part of my job, too, is looking out for the grievers, you know. People come to pay their respects, and they need looking out for. Sometimes they so grief-bound they don't know what they doing.
Tell me about yourself.
That's about all there is to say.
Tell me something about St. Louis Cemetery, number 1.
You know why the dead are buried in tombs and not in the ground, don't you? The water table's too high. Them coffins would float right out of their graves. Them dead would go floating right down into the water. Course, if it were Mardi Gras, nobody'd even notice.
Tell me something about St. Louis Cemetery, number 1.
It's a historical place. People buried in here from the Civil War and back further, too. Take a look around, you'll see.
Tell me something about St. Louis Cemetery, number 1.
Just look around, just look around. You get the feel of the place.
The Wright family tomb. Several of Gabriel and Grant's family members are laid to rest here. The marker reads, Mera Planta Wright.
These are Grand's folks. I never knew them. Hi. I'm Rebecca's grandson.
Much as when they were alive, the Wright elders give no response.
Hi. I'm Rebecca's grandson.
Much as when they were alive, the Wright elders give no response. The marker reads, Philip Knight.
Daddy. Hey, Daddy. Miss you, Mom. How's it going, Granddaddy?
A grinning grotesquerie tops one section of the cemetery fence. The imposing tomb is elaborately labeled Gede. An angel draped dramatically over a stone plinth marks the entrance to a large tomb.
Hey, come back here. Hey! Oh, unbelievable. Rotten luck.
There's her drawing caught up against the hedges. Gabriel can't reach the drawing from where he is.
You mentioned something about special requests.
Yeah. You got one?
Can you fit through the bars around the statue?
Can I? Just watch me.
Good. There's something in there I can't quite reach. Come on. Can you reach that piece of paper?
Sure thing. Here you go.
Thanks, kid.
Yep. See ya.
This belongs to you, doesn't it?
My drawing. How'd you get it?
Oh, it was a bit of a squeeze, but I hate to see you lose your work. I lost my only copy of a manuscript once.
Well, you saved my butt. Let me know if I can ever do the same for you, huh?
Do you mind if I watch you?
Be my guest.
Say, do you think there's anything you can do with these patterns?
What do you need?
Is there any way you can reconstruct the whole pattern from these partials?
The pattern is probably circular, and there's some repetition in the elements. What is this from, anyway?
You'd never believe me.
Okie dokie. Well, there's... I think there's an area missing. If you could get me any more of these...
I'll see what I can do. I have another one of those patterns.
Really? Let's see. Yeah, this is great. I think there's enough overlap now. I'll give it my best shot. I'll show you what I come up with tomorrow.
Great. I appreciate it.
A lone drummer beats out a haunting rhythm on a large African drum. The drummer is busy.
Welcome, my friend.
Hello.
I am the proprietor, Dr. John. If you have any questions, I will be happy to assist.
Great. My name is Knight, and I'll probably take you up on that.
Dr. John is a huge man. If his manner weren't so pleasant, he'd be intimidating.
Could I ask you some questions?
That is why I am here.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Historical voodoo? Or the voodoo currently practiced in the city?
Tell me about historical voodoo.
Very well. I will start at the beginning, Mr. Knight, and will go on from there at your prompting.
Sounds good.
As you may know, voodoo is a grassroots religion formed by the mixing together of many different African tribal religions and Anglo religions, such as Catholicism or Protestantism. In other words, it is a religion born of the African slave trade, but African slaves were imported not only by the United States, but also into the West Indies, where the French and Spanish ran plantation islands. Prior to 1803, The New Orleans area was owned by France. The French Creole in those days owned many African slaves. But the Creole did not permit their slaves to gather, giving no chance for voodoo to breed here natively.
The Creole also knew enough about the corrupted pagan practices of the West Indies slaves to ban the importing of slaves from that region.
So, how did voodoo come to New Orleans?
After the Louisiana Purchase, American legislators relaxed regulations. Slaves were permitted to gather. The Americans also removed the ban on West Indies slaves.
Around the same time, a slave revolt occurred in Santo Domingo, what is now Haiti. Between the lifting of the ban and the Haitian revolt, West Indies slaves began pouring into New Orleans.
Some of them were free people of color, freed or escaped slaves. Some came with their white owners who were fleeing from the revolt.
What happened when the West Indies slaves got here?
They brought voodoo with them. The native slaves were more than enthusiastic about embracing it. It gave them power, Mr. Knight, if only in the form of a communal bond. Among the first meeting places were the Bayou St. John and the shore of Lake Pontchartrain. The early voodoos were heavy snake worshippers, worshipping the one they called the Great Zombie.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
By 1817, the voodoo activities were beginning to cause fear among the white slave owners. An ordinance was passed to forbid slave gatherings except in designated public areas at designated times. The time was Sunday afternoons and the place, Congo Square. The slaves and free people of color gathered to dance simulations of their voodoo dances right in sight of Creole society. Of course, they also continued to meet in private for the real thing.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
There were a variety of kings and queens at first, voodoo priests and priestesses. But from about 1830, a single power emerged. This was a voodoo queen named Marie Laveau. Marie Laveau ruled voodoo in New Orleans for many years.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
I've given you as much detail as I can, Mr. Knight. Look around the museum if you desire more information.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
There were actually two Marie Laveaux, mother and daughter. Most people thought they were the same woman. Her continued youth added to the mystique. The original, the mother, was also known as Widow Paris. It was she that began the empire. When the Widow Paris began to practice, there were many voodooans in the city. By 1830, she was voodoo queen of all New Orleans.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
The Widow Paris was a hairdresser for rich Creole ladies. She also paid household servants to spy for her. Between the two, she knew everything about everyone who mattered in New Orleans. She was not above using her information to appear psychic, to intimidate, or even to blackmail.
You sound as though you admire her.
For a black woman in the mid-1800s to gain power is an incredible thing, Mr. Knight, however she achieved it.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
She kept a pet snake, danced with it too. She held traditional voodoo ceremonies out by the lake. She took herself seriously, very seriously. But she was not above selling tickets for her events to curiosity seekers. She was not above using voodoo any way she could to make money, that is for certain. But if she had been in another line of work, in another age, that would have been interpreted as entrepreneurial genius rather than a sign of fraudulence.
Hey, you don't need to convince me. I admire anyone that can actually make a living. Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
It was Marie Laveau who defined the voodoo that is truly and uniquely the voodoo of New Orleans. She invented hundreds, if not thousands of spells, potions, charms, and incantations. These form the basis of the modern practice, not to mention the folk tradition of hoodoo.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
Her daughter, Marie Glapion, took over when the Widow Paris got old. Most people thought it was the same Marie Laveau. Both Maries encouraged that point of view. The Widow Paris died in 1881. Marie Glapion had been reigning a long time by then. After the death of the Widow Paris, other voodoo queens surfaced, and by 1890, the cult was fragmented again. Marie Glapion just sort of faded away.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
The Laveau tomb, where one or both of the Maries are believed to be buried, is in St. Louis Cemetery No. 1. It is a popular shrine for practitioners and tourists alike. I myself take tours through the cemetery on a regular basis.
Really? Do you have any running this week?
No, but the cemetery is open to the general public as well.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
You have heard everything about Marie Laveau that a layman might expect to understand.
Tell me about current voodoo.
Many people think of voodoo in terms of magic spells or gree-gree. That kind of practice is actually called hoodoo, and is only a part of true voodoo. Voodoo, the religion, has a strong following in New Orleans. In fact, it is growing quite rapidly. There are several voodoo churches or temples in the city, and others all across the United States. African Americans see it as a tradition all their own. Whites, and there are many in their religion, are attracted to it because they think it is exotic. I, personally, am more interested in the history of voodoo. Some of the new movements are copying Haitian or even African voodoo. But it is the voodoo of New Orleans that I find so intriguing.
Tell me more about current voodoo.
There are many voodooians in New Orleans. They often do business selling gree-gree, telling fortunes, providing luck, and, occasionally, misfortune. Perhaps you would like to meet a voodooian. We refer those who seek a deeper experience with voodoo to a local practitioner, Magentia Moonbeam.
Sure, I'd love to meet her.
She lives on the corner of Orleans and Dauphine. I will call her and tell her you might stop by.
Great, thanks. Tell me more about current voodoo.
You have tapped my resources. My expertise is really historical. Perhaps Ms. Moonbeam can be of further help.
Do you know Malia Getty?
Should I?
She referred me to your museum.
Many have read about our museum in the newspapers, Mr. Knight.
That's a good point. What exactly is hoodoo?
Hoodoo refers to magic folk traditions of the South. Hoodoo is a bastard of voodoo. Many of the gree-gree are similar, but hoodoo does not have the religious aspects of voodoo.
Is there anything else I should know about hoodoo?
Not if your interest is primarily in voodoo. Hoodoo is of interest to those who study rural folk traditions, but it will not aid you in understanding true voodoo.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The killings in the newspaper? I know that they have nothing to do with true voodoo in New Orleans.
What makes you think the voodoo murders aren't being done by local practitioners?
Voodoo is a popular boogeyman, Mr. Knight, especially in New Orleans. Anyone can pretend to use it, just as anyone can pretend to be a black belt in karate, and for the same reason, to intimidate. I know voodoo in this city, Mr. Knight, and believe me, it is not about killing. Even the police have stated that the killings have nothing to do with local voodoo.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Ah, you have perhaps noticed the museum's snake, Mr. Knight. They are beautiful creatures, do you not agree? And the tourists seem to associate them with voodoo.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It is one of the important ceremonial nights in voodoo.
What else can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I am afraid I do not know the origins of St. John's Eve. I only know that it was a night of ritual long before voodoo came to New Orleans.
Do you have any idea what Cabri Saint-Gar means?
I fear my French is not all it should be, Mr. Knight.
Tell me about yourself.
Me?
Yes, if you don't mind.
What is it you wish to learn?
Why did you open a voodoo museum?
The subject has fascinated me all my life, and I wanted to help preserve the cultural heritage it represents.
What kind of background in voodoo do you have?
Let us say that I cut my teeth on it, Mr. Knight. It is in my blood.
Do you do anything besides run the museum?
No. The museum does not make me a rich man, but my material needs are simple. I prefer to focus on my one true interest in life.
What are your own religious beliefs?
My beliefs are too personal and too complex to discuss with a layman, Mr. Knight.
Just tell me anything.
I am originally from the West Indies myself, you know.
Really? What brought you to New Orleans?
I was drawn here for personal reasons.
Just tell me anything.
I am a vegetarian.
Really? I can't imagine living without meat.
That must be the hunter in you, Mr. Knight.
Just tell me anything.
I do not care for small talk, Mr. Knight.
Actually, I can't think of a thing.
Then, let us discuss something else.
Could you look at this and tell me if you recognize anything about the ritual?
This is truly offensive. This is from one of those recent killings, is it not?
Well, actually...
But the police already know that this so-called voodoo ritual is fake. Voodoo is a respectable religion. This kind of thing has nothing to do with voodoo in this city.
Fine. Let's say that's true. Are you sure there's nothing about the items in this photo?
There is nothing about this sickness that I would identify as voodoo. Nothing.
Thanks for looking then. Do these symbols mean anything to you?
No. They look like nonsense to me. Where did you get them, if I might inquire?
I saw them scribbled somewhere. Just graffiti, I guess.
I see. By the way, I forgot to warn you, Mr. Knight. The local cemeteries are quite dangerous. Muggers, vandals. I would avoid going there alone, if I were you.
Really? Thanks for the advice.
It's an electrical switch.
What does this do?
Turn that thing off.
Oh, sorry.
We have air conditioning, you see.
Yeah, I see. I'll be going.
Walk carefully out there, Mr. Knight.